true.
Oh.
But people Googling those could end up searching for my stuff, so that could be cool. So this is Ready or Not, and we are odd hat sizes. The project you may remember being hide and seek. So a recap, the premise is taking the gameplay of fast-paced shooters and setting it in a non-violent scenario of tag between kids. So I'm going to start off with talking a bit about the art direction that leads into it, and then we'll follow it up with some gameplay. So first of all, the art direction. One of the big things that we wanted to push was very muted environments with very poppy, colorful, interactive objects. So that way, as you're running away from people, it'll be really easy for you to know which items that you can interact with, that you can, in the game you'll be vaulting, you'll be sliding, you'll be clambering up walls. So want to make sure that as you're running through this hall, you know that you can...
Those rendered environments?
No, these are references. these are references. Now we're going for much more like stylized, like cartoony stuff in the game. So yeah, these are more of like interior design shots that were influencing us. So for the first few pages until we get to concept art, just reference. So that way you know exactly where you can kind of use an item to get away from someone. Instead of just plain hallways as you're running around and kind of like little throughways, we want to make sure that there's always something interesting happening. So you'll see when we get into gameplay, one of the hallways has a lot of arches going through it, so it breaks up the space a lot. Other ones have some kind of beams going across, so we get some different kinds of lighting as we go through it. We don't want anything to be just straight like hallways going through. Always want to make sure that it's an interesting space to be moving through. And one of the big things that I pushed with my artists is have fun with everyday objects. If you're making something like the border around trees, find something you can do with that. Like these people took it and made it into a bench for people to sit in. Benches, don't just put a plank. Make sure it's a fun, interesting shape. So we're trying to make sure that it's a very playful environment, like down to the little details. And then with that, make sure that everything is very simple. We want to make sure that we can keep our frame rates really high. Otherwise, gamers get really upset and break their keyboards. So keeping that simple shape is going to make sure that everything has a very strong read to it, but it's also going to make sure that the frame rates stay high. And then we take all those ideas and wrap it up in this style of Pascal Champion, Chris Turnham, and Rob Rupel. So big shapes, mostly defined by lighting, and then just very simple texture, just to give a little bit of grit to the world, but mostly flat colors everywhere. So with that brief that I handed out to the artists, we started working on the characters first, or at least a group of them did. And so they ran around, did a lot of just style exploration, goofing around with what this was going to be. And for the most part, it was like a little bit too actiony. It was a little bit too like the Tron cartoon. And then some of these were a little bit too like Cartoon Network-y. So finally, Rachel came out with these. And the colors like popped exactly how we wanted colors to pop in this game. So we want this very kind of natural feeling environment as far as colors go, and then items you can interact with, including people, just the colors just blow out on the screen. But this, one of the big things is coming from a tech art and rigging background, we're not going to make capes. And so, that was the first thing I sent her, and then she came back with this. And so this was our first kind of real character that nailed down where we're going with this. And so this is a paint over of a 3D base of it is the model, and then just drawn over it is the octave. So then from there, she's been going through just doing iterations, or not iterations, but variations. So this is about half of what's in the folder. And then the character modelers have been going through and turning those into actual 3D assets. And then we're using a skin wrapping technique. So all we've done is rig that first naked model, and then you just pass that information to all the other pieces. So once we really finalize the rig, I can go through and pass it to all these other ones in a day. And if I sit and make a macro or a script, I can just have it match. Now for the first level that we're doing, we're setting it in Old Town, which, if you heard all my other presentations, it's all about the future and everything. But setting in the first one in the Old Town gets us kind of eased into that high-tech tomorrow. A lot of times the artists kept pushing too tech-looking and not grounding it enough. So when we started to focus on this, they're like, all right, well, what's going to fit in with something that we would see today? So that kind of brought them back to something a little bit more familiar, something they can get personal with. So they've gone out to Olivera Street, San Juan Capistrano, Orange, to take a bunch of pictures and really get immersed in these areas. So this is one of the first concepts that really kind of nailed that down. And you'll see this when we're doing the gameplay. Some different building experimentations, just kind of playing with different shapes. Renzo Piano was one of the big influences for some of the students, so we've got a lot of his influence in the buildings. So again, Old Town feel, but then over the years it's had these kind of facades built up over it. Putting in a lot of futuristic little elements to it, like what are fire hydrants going to look like in the future? What's a map going to look like in the future? We've already got maps where you can interact with them. So what's that going to be like in 20 years? One of the things that's going to be in the game is these vending machines that you'll be able to run up to and interact with to get kind of extra goods and extra points. So those were a big push for getting some different shapes and playfulness out of that. And then these are some more variations on our Old Town. Again, the students are coming from a game background, so they kept trying to push everything to like dystopia and putting like this martial law police state backdrop on it, where there's like police searching everywhere, and like on the last one there's one about like ratting on your neighbors. And I kept having to like slap their hand like, no, this is a happy tomorrow. In the game, you'll have little robots that are, you'll be able to spawn out and they'll seek out people for you or get in people's way. Right now, they're just patrolling around the levels, but once we get the inventory in place, you'll be able to, if you can't find anyone, you can hit a button and seek out the first, the closest hider. Some of the models for some of the robots we have in there right now. Some of the influence for the interface, like we wanted a really clean, simple look to it. Make sure, like the big thing is making sure everything can read really easily. Making sure that everything is simple, nothing is kind of overdone. So first we started playing with some different colors. And it started off kind of the one over on the right, and that was a little bit too colorful, too crazy. And so we've been knocking it back, and the top two are kind of where we're at right now. That's what it looks like in the character customization screen. This is just in there right now. We can't actually customize anything with it yet. This is our poster that we put together. And then our website. Oh, no, get back there. again, just some of the concept art. And down here, we've got the team and links to most of their LinkedIn accounts. But I don't have any pictures of them yet. And let's check out the game.
Aim it at the box.
Maybe at that box.
Hi everyone, I'm the lead programmer for the hide and seek. And for now our game is like a chasing game. You're just chasing around and well networked, and several players of our team will show a game round. Can you log into the game? So now you're just it's just a hider in the blue color, and he's running around like find something to hiding, somewhere to hiding, and the other one. There.
No.
I just added to a different game. Now the government's logging, and he's a seeker and spawn in this corner of the map, and he will try to find out. He got someone there, and then they're just like chasing. I don't know, because his computer is out of the charger, so it's a little bit low frame rate, but this one it works fine. Yeah. Our game is about network game, and our core is to make a game networking, and everybody is playing in a very high speed mode and chasing others, make a game smooth, and then when he got someone, it reflects very quick. This one is still hiding and no one can play. Actually, our game is, now we have a little bit feature like tag and then hide and chase around, the cameras follows and something like that. Later on we will work on the gameplay, like the random machine, you've got buff and something like that. We want to keep our game simple. It's like more like a hide and seek, but not like a Counter-Strike or something like a FPS game. So we're just trying to make it a simple game for kids and for the parents. They can play together, and every game you say about 5 minutes. So it starts very. You can, like before your meal, you just play around and that's it. So for our programs, our work is about the UNet. It makes this game networking. Like you got the scores and you got automatically match up, and also features like you choose your game models. Just start. Yeah, there it is. And also you change your IDs and something like that. So it's very easy game, like the small kids can play with their parents and something like that. By the way, our team is a small team. I'm a lead programmer, and these two guys, Mike just joined us a week before, and the development speed. He and me got some awesome courses. So for now, our team is a small team, and we are looking for programmers. actually it's a networking, so we need a lot of people like playing around to test the bugs and something like that.
We just got our first bit of audio yesterday from some of the kids that we met at one of the meetups here. So this next week we'll be implementing that in. So it's footsteps for different materials. And we haven't heard back from the composer in a little bit now. But yeah, so that's the game.